Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Spinner Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about my time seeing Linkin Park, 30 Seconds to Mars, and AFI on the Carnivores tour. So before anything else, I should probably let you guys know, this is sort of an, companion piece, in my opinion, to the other Carnivores tour concert review that was done by John from Mountain View TV, who I'm pretty good friends with at this point. We're doing a couple collabs together and stuff, and I'd bring his up especially because I ended up almost not going to this show because of money problems. But because of a little bet that I won, he agreed to pay for half the ticket price, and, well, I went, and it was really good. The first thing I gotta talk about chronologically is the drive over there, especially because out of all the days for San Diego to have this insane, rain and thunderstorm with, huge winds and stuff, it had to be tonight during the friggin' Linkin Park show. Big first world problem, I know, but it ended up taking 2 hours to get there. I got there, I ended up getting through the gates just when AFI was playing their second song or so. I was mainly there for Linkin Park, and while I do, like the big AFI singles Miss Murder, Girls Not Grey, and to some extent I Hope You Suffer in 17 Crimes, their set wasn't one that really overall impressed me. It was just kind of serviceable opening band material, I suppose. But I will say this is kind of a cool full circle moment because my first ever amphitheater show was at this same venue, Sleep Train Amphitheater, back when it was called the Cricket Wireless Amphitheater, when I saw AFI open for Green Day on their 21st Century Breakdown tour sometime in 2010. So the fact that I was seeing them again for this was just really cool to me, even if I'm not the most devoted of fans, I guess. Then we got to 30 Seconds to Mars, and this is where things get interesting. See, I have also seen 30 Seconds to Mars before, that being at the 2013 X-Fest last September, where there were, for some reason, on the same bill between Blink-182 and The Offspring. So, pretty different dispositions as far as bands go. They were very serious, whereas the other ones were Blink-182 and The Offspring. But here, I suppose you could say they'd be a little more at home, but at the same time, they were easily my least favorite on X-Fest just because they were so pretentious and overblown, especially in comparison to those other bands. Whereas here, like I said, I feel like maybe if they toned things back a little but still kept that same kind of aesthetic, it'd fit a little better and I'd be able to digest it a little better. The problem being that they didn't tone it down. If anything, they only amped it up. Pretty much every song had some grand audience sing-along or pseudo-inspirational speech, or there was even a point midway through one song where Jared basically pulled a Kanye and stopped midway through a song because not everyone in the front section was standing up. He basically nagged this guy and his wife. I suppose it was kind of funny, but it just stopped the momentum altogether and for not much payoff, really. But to get more general, the visuals were just very flashy, very tacky, just so, again, overblown, and it just feels like a lot of style over substance, really, which is kind of how I feel about some of 30 Seconds to Mars music. As much as I do like some of their songs, this whole show to me just kind of seemed like one big ego trip for Jared Leto. While he has come off nice and stuff in interviews, when I see him in stuff like this, it just makes me want to say to him, dude, you look like Jesus, but that doesn't mean you are Jesus and feel like you're that important. Because he was acting like everything he said and sang was just this grand statement, and he didn't really let the music speak for itself. There was always some sing-along, or I don't know, it just felt very tacky to me, for lack of a better term. Again, it's technically kind of well constructed, I suppose, if I had to give some positive praise, and musically they were on point. Jared Leto is a very good singer live, and definitely one of the better in mainstream rock over the last few years. But, I don't know, I just feel like they just need to tone it down live to me. And when you're opening up for like a super big band like Linkin Park, and you still end up sounding a lot more mainstream and rock star, then you're doing something wrong. I'm sorry. But then came Linkin Park, and man, they did not disappoint in the slightest. They just completely blew everyone else off the stage and just really saved this show, I guess, for lack of a better term. If you want to go more into like the basic like review points and stuff, I'd recommend going to the album review, TV, concert review, which I'll link in the description and annotate here and stuff. But one thing I really wanted to point out is the fact that this has to be one of the most carefully and just well structured like sets I've seen in quite a long time. Just the way that songs really segued into each other, like playing the first half of Castle of Glass before slowly turning it into the recharged version, or playing a solo piano version of Leave Out All the Rest for the first verse and chorus before slowly turning it into Shadow of the Day, and then turning that into like some Johan DJ mix, and then turning that into the start of Lying From You, or I'm probably getting the order of songs mixed up, but you know what I mean, like songs just flowed in and out of each other so expertly, for lack of a better term, and you can tell they just put so much thought into this, and it all paid off very, very well. The set list itself, in terms of songs, I think it was really well done. They mainly kind of stuck to the first two albums and The Hunting Party, with Minutes to Midnight kind of coming in behind that, and then a few songs each from A Thousand Suns and Living Things. And I think that it was generally very well divided up. There weren't really any glaring omissions, with the exception of Breaking the Habit or The Catalyst. Those were really the only two big singles of theirs that I found myself wondering, why didn't they do that? So in that respect, it's fair to see why they decided to sort of do little snippets of certain songs, but it wasn't in a way where it felt jarring or that they were just teasing you, because it all just wove together so well. Not to mention that, take notes, Leto, the visuals actually added to the show instead of trying to detract from it. I will say I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't much in the way of talking between songs or crowd interaction, with the exception of, singing along and stuff like that, which was not forced. Again, take notes, Leto. Freaking Oscar guy. However, right before the encore songs, he did give a pretty good speech about the band working with a veterans association. But yeah, other than that, this is basically a Setlist.fm editor's worst nightmare of a set list, just from having to add little notes onto every song pretty much. This was still a great performance, and I'm really glad I managed to get the ticket at the last minute. Thanks a lot, John. I'm still expecting a 20 in the mail. And I think that's the note I'll end this little concert review on. So if any of you guys have seen Linkin Park live, especially on this tour, or 30 Seconds to Mars or AFI, let me know what you thought when you saw them, or if you're thinking of seeing them at some point. And for those of you kind of tuning into this channel for the first time, I did a review of The Hunting Party recently, which I'll annotate here and link in the description. So yeah, share this around with anyone who might be interested, like the Facebook page in the description for updates, commentaries, music news, and reviews of older albums, and hopefully you'll see you in the next episode of Spin It Reviews. Also stick around until after the outro for a bunch of pictures.